Hi, I'm Aaron Bartley. I'm going to be playing some full ring 1530 Omaha high-low. Went to my big blind because there's really no reason to start posting when the button's up here, get 3 or 4 hands in for 15 bucks. Unless you're a complete action junkie degenerate, you really don't want to be doing that. It's much better just to wait for your big blind, pay the big blind, and see 7 free hands. In 9-handed tables, I'll actually get a little looser in regards to at least low hands, because 9-handed tables, more people will start seeing flops and seeing turns, so hands like ace-deuce-3, ace-deuce-4, ace-4-5 kind of go up in value, because when they hit, they're going to get paid, and you're going to get half of a decent-sized pot instead of half of a pot which you put a lot of money into. This hand just ended horribly for me. Yeah. Yeah, but like this hand right here, ace-deuce-3-6, I'm completely happy if everyone limps in. And if it actually gets a lot of limpers, I'm going to bump it up, because those times that the low does come, I have an almost uncounterfeitable low. And I have a lot of possibilities to scoop. And even if I do scoop, I'm winning 50% of a pot that I only contributed 1/8 or 1/6 to. So it's a way to grind out money through lows. So again, I'm going to 3-bet it here, because as long as a low comes, I can really lay claim to it. And that's one of the advantages to a full ring table instead of a 6-max table or a heads-up table or a short-handed table, because short-handed tables, you can't really get that aggressive with low-only hands like this one. I just flopped the entire world on this hand. I've got any low card will give me the nut low, even a deuce, because I've got ace-3. Any heart gives me the nut flush with my ace-deuce. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in. So I'm going to 3-bet here. And again, this is a speculation 3-bet, even though Cookie probably has a made hand already. Even if a low comes and I chop the low, I'm getting 25% of a pot that I only put 20% into. So I'm still making a little bit of money. I do need the low card to come, but any low card, any heart, 3 works. Honestly, a 2 probably would have been better, because there's extremely possible that an ace-deuce is out there. But as long as 2 other people don't have an ace-deuce, I get half the pot. Or, excuse me, I get half the pot or a fourth of the pot. And I'm still making money because there's still 5 people in here. Gonna bump it up. Again, just really, the odds are in my favor. The odds are pretty good that 2 of these now, 3 other people don't have ace-deuce also. And again, I'm betting on a heart. Heart doesn't come, I can slow down. There's only 4 people in the hand. It's somewhat likely that someone else has an ace-deuce. No need to go crazy. Doesn't have an ace-deuce, I get half of a pot that I only put not half into. So I bump my stack up by almost a full buy-in just on that hand right there. Yeah, and again, this guy flopped a straight, kind of went crazy with it, even though there was a lot of scary stuff going on. This guy flopped 2 pair with a runner flush draw. Got a suited ace, suited queen on the button, got an ace-deuce draw. I'm honestly happy if they just fold, but if it's kind of a steal with benefits, I'm stealing, but even if the steal doesn't work, I've still got a really good hand to play off of. Keep betting. Again, I'm hoping he folds. A fold's the thing that I like to see the most there, because other than a 5, no card is good for me, because it was a heads-up pot, and I could only really lay claim to half the pot. So that's a bad situation. I bet with the intent for him to fold. He did. I'm happy. If he didn't fold, I'm still in really good shape, but I probably would have shut down after the flop if he hadn't folded, because he's pretty much saying, I've got a hand that I'm going with, and he's willing to put 60 more bucks in the pot. I don't really see the point in putting 60 bucks in the pot when I can only really get 60 bucks back out of it, and it's possible that he has an amazing hand that he could scoop me with. A lot of Omaha is somewhat of a drawing game. It's not that bad to put money into a pot without a made hand. You really, to be comfortable with it, you need to have a hand that goes more than one way. You want more than one way to win the pot. This is a good hand, because if I flop if just 2 hearts come on the flop, I'm not going to start putting a lot of money into the hand. If 2 hearts come and I have maybe an inside straight draw, that's a better hand. Again, it is a bad hand. I have top pair and 2 runner draws, but there's 2 lows. There's really no reason to bet, because a lot of people are going to call. People with better hands are going to call, and people with only low hands are going to call. So if I bet and people call, I really don't know where I'm at. I'm kind of forced to call because of all the ways this hand can go and all the money that's in the pot. But unless I get a really great card like that, I'm kind of done with the hand. I got top 2 here. I'm going to put in a bet, again, because good hands can call and hands that are way behind can call. If someone here has an ace-3, ace-4, 3-4, 3-5, something like that, they're probably going to put 30 bucks into the pot, which ends up over time being a decent amount of money for me, because it's way more likely that they don't improve enough instead of them improving a lot. That's a really good card for them. If it wasn't raised, I'd have to pay him off, because I can't really give him spades or 3-4. I could give him something like ace-3, ace-4 that he would be betting with for value. Right now I've just got top 2. Someone playing a 3-4 got there. Someone playing spades got there. Almost certainly one of these 2 people has it. Almost certainly this guy has it, because he wouldn't be 2-betting in a 3-handed pot with just he had the straight and the nut low. Obviously he doesn't have just a low, because if he had just a low, he would have been cold calling. A cold call from him would probably get my money in the pot. By raising, he's explained his hand. Again, because there's no reason for him to raise with just a low, and any hand that he would be comfortable raising with on the river there beats my top 2 pair. So him defining his hand saved me 30 bucks. Here, this hand looks really pretty. A lot of clubs, a lot of diamonds. These 2 are connected. These 2 are kind of low. Overall, not a great hand. You got to start thinking about, what kind of flops am I happy with? Well, if a flop comes with a 9 and a deuce on it, am I happy? No, probably not. If a flop comes with a couple clubs or a couple diamonds on it, am I happy? Not really. You know, if a flop comes with low cards on it, am I happy? Not at all. So I'm pretty much done with this hand from the start. I'm not playing it for a lot. If a bunch of people limped in and maybe one person raised, I would call, just because there's so much money in the pot that I would have to see a flop and maybe get a little lucky. But with the way it went down, there's no reason to put a dime more into that pot unless you absolutely have to. This hand is a very similar position. I wouldn't willingly start putting a lot of money into the pot. I'll call 5 into 40 all day with just about any 4 cards, because it's such an absolute great value, in addition to not just what the pot is laying, but what the pot could potentially lay. But again, I'm not really happy with any flop. Even that flop, it seems to be a really great flop. I've got top 2, and I've got a low made. I'm not stoked about it, because so many hands beat mine. And not only do so many hands beat mine, but it's possible that this guy bets. Does he have a low? Does he have a high? Well, there's 3 low cards. Am I comfortable with my low? Absolutely not. Just about any low beats me. Am I comfortable with my high? Well, yeah, if the hand ended right now, if this was the last bet ever, if he was all in for 15, I would be extremely comfortable with my high. But with it right now, almost any card that comes out, I'm not comfortable with. it's not going to do very good for me. But it could possibly make his hand. Maybe he has ace, deuce, 5 king. If a king comes, I don't know. If a queen comes, I don't know if he hit it or not. So it's best just to fold. There's not a lot of money in the pot. If he's betting the flop, he's probably going to fire 2 more bullets. It's better just to let that hand go. And the amount of money that you're losing when he has some sort of random trash doesn't nearly compare with the amount of money that you'd lose by calling him down and having him have some sort of extremely good combo hand. Good high hand. I'm not going to raise because no one's going to fold and there's no reason to start building a big pot. Just limp in, hope for a king, hope for some clubs, hope for a little straight action. If I wasn't playing under my own name, I would probably use, well, the name I signed up for on Full Tilt initially was Gamble AB. It is a decent hand, unless he's got aces. I've got him beat. Probably doesn't have a set. Yeah, that was a really bad bluff. I absolutely had to call. I was betting the entire way. Really makes no sense for him to bluff me there. He limped. I bet pre-flop because it was a decent hand. I wanted to get isolation on anyone who wanted to play. The flop came decently, but I bet just because it's kind of standard, and he would pretty much only have to call with a low. Turn river came. He only started getting antsy on the river. It's possible he flopped a set, but not really likely. If he would have repped the set way earlier, especially in a heads-up pot. It's possible he had some kind of ace-4 deuce or something like that. But again, I was forced to call it just because of the sheer size of the pot and the oddity of him coming alive. A lot of times we lose that hand to random trash, but that was one of those times where a guy just got out of line a little bit. This hand we were just going for a flush because there was no low made. With the low made, there's no point in chasing a flush. I'd call 30 into 150. Gotta assume he definitely has a low made. Only be happy with the club. Even with a club, I'm really only winning, not all the time, because he could very easily have a set or 3-4, 3 deuce, 4s, deuces. He could pair whatever came on the river. And again, I've already regaled myself to only winning half the pot anyway. It's quite possible I could hit the best card in the deck for me and still lose the entire pot. Here we got a decent hand. He can go a couple ways. Not a great flop. Depending on how many people call will determine how fishy I can get in this hand. A lot of people call. I can call. I got a pair. I got inside straight draw. And I got 2 pair. Not stoked about it. A lot of high hands beat me. Again, we're going to see how the action goes to see how fishy I can get and how much I can call. Big pot, I got 2 pair. Pretty much got to call, especially since it was limped pre-flop. It's a decent card for me, but again, if whatever these guys are repping, I'm not sure if I can beat it. I don't feel comfortable putting in a raise just because I don't think he calls me with a worse hand. Yeah, he wouldn't call me with that hand. The only hand that he would have the only hand he would have called me with on that river would be 3-9, king 3, kings, 9s, something that had me crushed. So even though I have a really good hand, putting in that river bet wouldn't do anything for me just because he's not calling with a worse hand, and if he has a better hand, he's 3-betting me, and I virtually have to call the 3-bet, because even if he bluffs 2% of the time with a 3-bet, I have to call it. So I don't like putting in raises there. Well, the biggest part about winning poker is that you just got to put the time in. You got to put the time in. You got to put the hands in. If you're a tournament player, you got to put as many tournaments in as you possibly can on all levels. If you're a cash player, you got to put the hands in every single day. I don't really like setting limits. Like, I want to try to play this many hands per day, or I want to play this many tournaments per day, because I feel like if you put a lot of limits on yourself, it encourages you to play when you're not playing your best. And that's completely counterproductive, because your goal is to play as much as you possibly can to make as much money. If you're not playing your best, you get into really bad spots where you're losing money trying to win money. But yeah, every time you feel up for it, you just gotta log on, gotta put those hands in, even if it's only a 15 or 30-minute session. Those add up. It's little bits from everywhere. If you are in a good spot financially, you got to keep putting it in to get that money up, because the more you put in, the more that luck goes down and the more your skill goes up. Thanks for watching my session of 1530 today. Session went pretty well. Played about 50 hands, won about 450, which is a buy and a half. Not exactly results that I can expect every session, but I played well, played tight, punished people that kind of got into pots with me that shouldn't have, and it went pretty well.